Hey traders, Mike Katz, 7 Points Capital. Do a quick takeaway today. I had an overall quiet day, slightly on the green side. Just felt a little out of it today. Couldn't really find much direction in the markets in the morning, so I just kind of wound things down. But then here, a couple of trades here and there in the second half of the day. I'll go over them. But initially, I started coming in and looking at the SPYs, as I usually do, and the market is above this 282 level, which was pretty significant. But we were getting up there a little bit tired. I thought maybe, the biggest sell-offs we had was during the gap ups. So if the biggest drops we've had in the market was when the market would gap up. So on this day, and today we also gapped up. So I figured we could potentially have a down day or give back most of the gains. And so I came in thinking short, but it wasn't easy. It looked like it just turned into a chop day. It turned into a day where we were taking out highs, we were taking out lows without much follow through. I was right around here. And then my executions are right around here. I shorted some covered and then shorted and covered. You guys could see that. But then when we took out the highs over here, when we took out these highs, that's it. I was done on the short side and I didn't want to fight it. And then when we pulled back to this breakout level, I was even considering going long, but I didn't end up doing it. And then we got the headline that the trade talks aren't going too well, and we got a nice little spike down in the market. So I wasn't in the SPY at this time, so I didn't want to chase, and I definitely didn't want to go long. So I just waited for a bounce, which we got around here, and it started topping out. I got short, gave it a little bit of space, and then I made an error. It wouldn't really matter too much P&L wise, but I did make an error here, and my error was that I covered half. That was fine over here, and then instead of keeping my stop where it should be up here, I covered the other half as it looked like it was going to curl up and take off, instead of moving my stop to the spot whenever we broke down here. But when we came down here, I probably would have been stopped out at the same spot right over here where the crosshair is. So overall, not a big difference P&L wise, but nonetheless, it was an error. It was an error. And then the market did take off to the downside. So, on the SPYs, I think a small green day for me, but it wasn't an easy day because it did, if you guys look here, look at this action here, was taking out lows and then triggering the highs and then triggering the lows again, and then came back up and took out the highs again. So at that point, I'm thinking this is a range day. This is not a breakout day in either direction. And I started doing a lot less in it. And then we got some news. What else did I trade today? I traded some CLRB. This was, again, a quick scalp. I could have done a little bit better here. This wasn't even on my radar, but we were lucky to have Krishna from Florida on our desk today. He's visiting in town, and it was nice to have him next to me. He mentioned the stock. So I just put some on and traded a little bit. Wasn't super high conviction because I didn't originate the idea, and I was kind of late to the party. But you guys could see that, it ended up going a decent amount more. So that was okay. What else did I trade today? Let's see. We had some, MU. I've been forcing myself to focus on MU again. It's been working well. And I think that just wasn't an easy day in this one for me. I think green in it. Yeah, I think green in this name, but not by much. Had some selling here and then cover and reshort, but then I covered everything here. It just felt like a buying algo was coming in based on the tape, and it ended up being a pretty nice move up. I could have gone long. I didn't get long. This thing, I'm running some stats, some data mining. It has really nice range, good volume, especially in the first hour or so. So I'm going to be focusing on this going forward quite a bit. On the pullback, I had got long here. 40.40 was yesterday's high. That was around here. Broke out, pulled back. It looked like it was going to curl back up. So I bought some, but didn't do a whole lot. And then I took it off when we got below this consolidation, and I left it alone for the rest of the day. And there was Twitter. I traded some Twitter. This ended up being my second best stock. Actually did okay with this. Trump had a press conference with the Brazilian president, and in the conference he mentioned that we're going to go after some of these social media platforms, that they should be more responsible and more held more liable, and potentially some regulations down the pipeline for Twitter, Facebook, and I'm guessing, I don't know what some of the other ones are, but you guys get the idea. So when I heard that, I saw some weakness, and I sold some, and I was going to give it some space over here a little bit above this pivot, and it ended up coming pretty close to my stop. And one rule that I have, that I should make it a firmer rule that I follow more often, is that if I put a position on and I'm close to out of the money and I'm close to getting stopped out, if it doesn't stop me out and it comes back, and now it comes back to my price again, I should double my position. And I do that sometimes. I'm going to start doing it more religiously. And usually that ends up being a nice trade, because the momentum, came so close to stopping me out that, and it didn't. And now the momentum's shifting the other way if it was able to get back to my entry price. The thinking behind it is most poor traders, or investors for that matter, what they do is they'll buy something, and then if it goes against them, it goes down, they'll hold it until it comes back to break even, and then they'll sell it, right? Let's see if I get my annotation tool out. Let's see if this works. So let's say this is the chart, and somebody buys something here, right around here. Well, if they buy it and it does this and it goes down, they're holding it, they're holding it, they're holding it, and they're waiting for it to come back so they can break even. When they break even, what do? They sell. So they took all this pain here on the losing side, and then as soon as they break even, they want to sell. And I can tell you from experience, and I can tell you from watching the markets for 20 years, this doesn't work. So I developed a setup around it, that if I'm in a position and it goes against me and it comes back, and I almost get stopped out and it comes back, I'm willing to put on more risk and double my position to potentially say, okay, now it's doing the right thing, and now is the time. Now the timing's right, and let's get bigger. So that's kind of what I was thinking here, but I didn't do it. I'm going to introduce that and make it more of a steadfast rule that I'm going to hold myself accountable for. So when I got in here, I was out of the money, and then when it came back, good spot to put some more on. The only trouble is, now the risk is going to be higher, but I think it's a pretty good setup. And then, you get one of these moves. Okay. So let's get rid of these annotations. Boom, 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 clear. All drawings, bam. See, I see how we did that? All right, so what else we have? I'll mention this one. I didn't trade this VXRT, mainly because borrows were kind of thin in the morning, and it just wasn't really on my radar. Some traders did extremely well on this one today, and congrats to them. We had some traders that really nailed this one pretty nicely. And the intraday offering is always nice when you're short, right? They dropped a $3 million offering, and at this point, it was, game over, I think. So one of the traders on the desk, I was speaking with him, and he was right around here. He pointed it out, and he's saying, I'm concerned. Can this grind back? Can this become an ATOS, an AKTX, where it just does the crazy moves to the upside, where the algo, if you want to call it, that's been controlling these low floats, takes things higher. And, you know, I kind of mentioned to him that I don't think so. It could be, but I don't think so. And my thinking with that algo is that they probably don't want to trade anything with a fresh headline, with fresh news, just because it's moving, just because it's got action. They're probably not going to trade it the way they traded AKTX and ATOS and some of the other ones. I think from their point of view, they probably have a small list of symbols that they've narrowed it down. They filtered out the ones with crazy filings. They filtered out the ones with massive floats. They filtered out whatever criteria they're using. They're narrowing the list down to a few names, and then those are the ones that I think that they're going to try to trade. Less likely, I think, that they're going to try to tackle something that has lots of action, a fresh headline, potentially some filings in the pipeline, some toxicity. I don't think that they're just going to tackle any random stock. So I thought this one could be safe from some of those shenanigans that we've seen in some of those other names that I just mentioned. Just a thought. I could be way off base here, but I don't think they're interested in the stock of the day. I think they'd rather create the action and have the community come and trade their symbols. Just a couple of cents, just some thoughts from my end, and I could be way off base, but let's see. We'll keep on monitoring them, and then see if we find any more anomalies that are worth paying attention to. That's pretty much it. That's all I got today. The market ended up coming back. Even though it looked like a big move, and it wasn't a small move, it just ended up coming back to unchanged. Be really interesting to see what happens the next couple of days. As I say in most most trader takeaways, but yeah, for some reason now it looks like, you know, pretty big volume day, a reversal outside day here, and then closing well off the highs. 282 will be interesting, and then we can go from there. And then the other one that I have on watch is ACB on the daily. This has acted really well. And then, you know, yesterday was an anomaly. Today I had this one on the short side. Actually, I'll mention it real quick. I don't remember what I did with it. Yeah, nothing major, just a couple of small trades. This was the theme of the day for me, you know, just a couple of small winners, a couple of small losers. Let's see, I'll bring up a small loser, or I think this was my biggest loser, AMD. What a monster move to the upside. Short here a little bit and close it out pretty quickly. I'm glad I did that, not try to fight this one. And here it looked like this 25 level, there was the spike here, I think when the Microsoft news hit, and then it felt like this was good risk reward if it was going to turn around. But yeah, I just took it off and I was done. I guess in hindsight, I could have done a lot better on the long side, but you know, it is what it is. So this one was a loss, 2 losses here, and a lot of small wins to finish the day on slightly green. So that's all I got for you guys. Mike Katz, thanks for watching. Subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and once again, thank you.